All right. Happy New Year to those of you joining us on YouTube, and a special welcome to those who are able to also be here on this Zoom call. Really lovely to see you all and to share some community after this recording. So I was inspired by a quote that, and I didn't write down, I just like write things in the note part of my phone sometimes, like I have a file called Dharma, and when some inspiration passes by, I make a note of it, but I didn't write down like where I heard this, which was an oversight. I don't know if it was like, might have been a line in a movie or in a talk or something. I can't remember where I heard it, but I do know who said it. So this is a quote from Simone, and it must have been an audio thing because I remember rewinding it so I could hear how they pronounced her name. Wait, they're just going to get a pop-up here if he's not muted. Let's make sure. Mute all. There we go. Good. We got it. Yeah, so Simone Weil is how they pronounced it, but it's spelled W-E-I-L. So it's a Francophone name, and I may be pronouncing it incorrectly. She is a French philosopher and political activist in the early 1900s. And she said this: attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Ah, I have found that so touching. Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. It's so beautiful and inspiring, and a unique view of, first of all, attention, but also of generosity. That may be not how we usually think of these things. And it reminded me of a couple different Dharma threads. One of them, some of you have heard me reference before, from the movie Lady Bird. It's a very sweet movie. And in that movie, that's where I found that the first time I really resonated with me a definition of love. And in this movie, this young woman is writing her college entrance exams, and she's very angsty, full of the angst, and like wanting to get out of her hometown so much. She's from Sacramento, I think, and she's in this Catholic school, and she's just like, you know, dying to get out of there and to get out of her family home and get off to college. And so she writes her, there's, you know, the whole movie process, but then she shows her paper to the head nun of her school, and she calls her into the office, and she says to her, "Oh, it's clear that you really love Sacramento." And this young woman, Ladybird, is kind of surprised by this because she thinks she really doesn't love it. She's complaining about it all the time and can't wait to get out of there. But what she says is, well, I guess I pay attention, right? So then the nun says, well, don't you think they're the same thing, love and attention? For me, that was a big light bulb moment of like, whoa, yeah, that's what love is, attention. Because when you really pay attention to anything, don't you feel the heart is touched? You feel this natural connection that to me it feels like love. You can feel that for a tree. Like if I can feel that for someone I don't even speak to, that I'm passing by on the street, if I'm actually paying attention and really seeing, really being open and available to that being, or whatever form of life that is, it's a kind of love. It's an interconnectedness. The heart is touched. There's availability and presence there. And so that kind of circles back to this, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. That attention it's a generosity of spirit, a generosity of heart, of presence, connection. So beautiful. And attention, we sometimes gets used interchangeably with mindfulness. Bare attention, we sometimes say, and this isn't that bare attention isn't a phrase that the Buddha used. As far as we know from the teachings that have been written down, that mindfulness, it comes from the root sati in the Pali language, sati, which means remembering. Mindfulness just means remembering what, like, say, if our anchor is the breath or walking or eating, it's that returning the attention, the remembering, the beginning again is mindfulness, remembering. Whereas attention is another Pali word called manasikara. For those that like taking notes and studying these things, it's MANA, mana, and then sikara, SIKARA. So manasikara means attention. And there's appropriate attention and inappropriate attention. So appropriate attention is called yoniso manasikara. You don't need to know the Pali. I'm just sharing it for people that are interested. Yoniso is YONISO. And that means appropriate. So there's appropriate attention. And then if you put an A in front of that compound word, ayoniso manasikara, that sounds like something from Hakuna Matata or something. Ayoniso manasikara is inappropriate attention, which is probably what most of us do most of the day. Inappropriate attention. I've really just been noticing it today, like, what am I paying attention to right now? What is my energy, my presence, my love, my generosity, my attention directed at through this day? So it can really be a daily life practice. Like, what am I paying attention to? My irritation thoughts and fueling that, my judgment of myself or others, my desire, my aversion, etc. To ask ourselves, what are we paying attention to? Is it appropriate or inappropriate? Another way to say this is, it skillful or unskillful? Is it conducive to more peace, calm, wisdom, or to more greed, hatred, and delusion? So, this attention that is the rarest form of generosity, or the attention that is like love, in the Dharma, yoniso manasikara, appropriate attention, means attending to the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of all things. So, whereas mindfulness is just being aware of, it could be anything, like somebody stealing a car could be very mindful. They're really paying, they're really aware of what they're doing. But appropriate attention is directing our attention in a certain way. And this is very important part of the path. So we can be really using this to what does it, to look at what am I fueling? What am I paying attention to? Is it conducive to love and generosity and connection? Or is it fueling more separation and more selfing? And inappropriate attention is defined in there's a whole list of these kind of inappropriate questions that the Buddha talks about, like he says, like, these are inappropriate questions. They're not, so I'll say more about that. So these are things like, do I exist or do I not exist? What am I? Did I exist in the past and will I exist in the future? It just brings back such memories, right, of that angsty time of like, what is this all about? Why am I here? What's the meaning of life? What is this? Is there a future, or is there life after this? Like all these questions which arise for us at many different times through our life. And all of these types of inappropriate attention are said to fuel or feed, what's the phrase, the thicket of views. They lead to the thicket of views. So you can imagine kind of a bramble of bushes, a thicket, you know, when you just get stuck in it, tangled up in it. And they all, so the views, such as, you know, they're really all related to a self. They all lead to more entanglement and more suffering, which is the opposite of generosity and love, is just that type of inappropriate attention, which in our daily life could also look like, how can I get more of what I want? How can I get rid of what I don't want? How can I get you to behave how I want you to behave? How can I get this world to be how I want? This just leads to more entanglement and suffering, which maybe you've noticed. I certainly notice it in myself. And so appropriate attention is to see, this is suffering. These thoughts, this attachment, this aversion is causing pain in my heart, body, mind. And the second noble, that's the first noble truth, that they're to recognize suffering. The second noble truth is to see that there's a cause of this suffering. So what does that look like in our daily lives? These aren't just like abstract concepts or philosophies. These are applicable, like in our daily life. All through the day, we can be really looking appropriately attention. Oh, is there suffering here? Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off right now, or I really want that right now, or, you know, on and on. Or, you know, I'm really, just to feel when we're contracted, when we're separated, when we're not feeling generous, not feeling connected and loving. It's like, oh, is there suffering here? What's going on? Oh, there's a cause of suffering. Let's see. Is there clinging? What am I clinging to? Probably might be strongly related to those other questions, you know, about myself. The ultimate clinging is to me and mine. And maybe not ultimate, but the deepest underlying clinging, that's usually bottom line. And so when we see appropriately, with appropriate attention, oh yeah, there's where I'm holding on. We can see, oh, if there's a cause for that suffering by holding on, there can also be not adding that cause, letting go of the clinging, which releases the suffering. And then the fourth noble truth is the way. the middle path, the way to how we actually do this. How does this actually play out in our daily lives with our right speech, right action, right view, right livelihood, right mindfulness, right concentration, the whole eightfold middle path. I know I didn't say them all right there. Right effort is a big one. And these things can really be applied in our daily lives. When we see when we notice, at times when we notice, oh, really suffering, really caught in a state right now. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? I don't like it. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't want it, or I do want it. And then see, oh, it's the wanting that's really painful. It's not just all these external circumstances, which also are painful, but it's the aversion or clinging to them that's the most painful part. Stephen Batchelor, I was recalling a retreat I sat with him, well, my first month-long retreat many moons ago, and I remember him teaching about yoniso, manasikara, and it just stood out in my mind because he really pulled out the word yoni at the beginning of this, appropriate attention, yoni as being a womb, the womb of attention, and he was really talking about that, and that stood out in my mind. But he also said that attention, it's an attention that gets to the root of things. So this wise or appropriate attention that really gets to what's really going on here. So just bare mindfulness is not what this practice is about. It's about appropriate attention, seeing clearly where is the suffering here, where is the clinging, and where is the freedom in every moment that's possible. So as Simone said, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. That, our meditation practice is about generosity of attention, of heart, of appropriate attention that keeps us engaged with each other, giving, loving, attending. This is transformative for our own hearts and minds and this world, really. So it's kind of a lot of Dharma type references in that talk tonight. And you don't need to know all that or the Pali words or even the Four Noble Truths. But just to know, what does it feel like in this heart, body, mind when there's holding on or pushing away? You, all of us know that it's a felt experience in the body. It's very much accompanied by a lot of painful thoughts and states of heart and mind, but it's a present moment felt experience of pain. It's painful. And we know this, but we often give inappropriate attention to it. Like, let's binge watch some Netflix instead, or let's, all the ways. I won't even list all the ways of inappropriate attention. Like, I got to get rid of this. This feels crappy. Let's do something else. So, of course, this just perpetuates and suppresses what is asking for attention. And instead, we want to give appropriate attention that feels generous and loving to ourselves and to each other. Oh, this is painful. What's painful here? Oh, you don't like it. Oh, yes, let's turn towards that. So we're going to practice. Our practice will include calming and stability and presence, cultivating that so that we have more attention capacity to direct it towards yoniso, manasikara, appropriate attention, which is liberating, freeing. Yeah. Okay, that's all. So let's practice. Yeah, so let's get a posture that is conducive to ease and wakefulness. So if you are experiencing pain, you might need to practice laying down. If there's a lot of sleepiness, you might want to practice standing up or walking. If your eyes are stressed from being on a screen all day, certainly turn away from the screen or dim your lights in your space. Nothing interesting to see here. You can just listen to the guidance of the voice if you like. If you're sitting, it's helpful to have a wide base. This is the posture of sitting cross-legged, but if your body is not at ease sitting cross-legged, then it would be unwise to do that for a longer sit. But you can find that width if you're in a chair by maybe seeing if it feels comfortable for your system to have your knees or feet a bit wider. So I'm just going to adjust here in this office chair. Yeah. And for myself sitting in this chair, I'm also going to lift my back away from the back of the chair so that I'm not, it's not too conducive to sleepiness if I'm sitting upright, but also the spine is upright. So it may feel like kind of like a marionette puppet from the back of the skull. There's a sense of lengthening up the spine, getting tall. See if your body needs any other movements to release any tension. Some people find it helpful to look around their space before their eyes come to rest. And then we bring the eyes either resting downward and slightly open or the eyes closed as a way of beginning to cultivate appropriate attention so that we're not entertaining ourselves by looking for visual delights in our space, but the eyes are turning towards an inner seeing. As the eyes come to rest, the forehead could feel wide and smooth, letting go of some of that deep groove of muscle that tries to figure everything out. Just check in with the muscles of the face and see if there's any tension here that isn't needed. Is there some ease or softening that can come to your inner expression, not needing to please anyone else? Just resting and releasing anything that doesn't need to be held on to right now. And then inviting this ease to slide down the sides and back of the neck, lengthening the neck and shoulder bones dropping, sliding downward, allowing the weight of the shoulder bones to slide down through the elbows into the resting hands. And seeing if it's helpful to invite some softness to the inner layers of the belly or heart centers. So that as the upper body begins to soften, we may start to feel more weightedness through the pelvis, hips, legs, and feet. This present moment, embodied mindfulness, centered, grounded, upright. And for our practice tonight, we'll cultivate an anchor, a resting place for our attention, which is what we were talking about as mindfulness, of sati, this place of remembering that we will return to when the attention has moved away. So 2 anchors tonight. One of them could just be this wider field of the body sitting. So let's hang out there for a bit together. There's just a field of awareness around the whole body. Body is sitting. And there's sensations of pressure, texture, temperature, tingling, pulse. There may be sharp or heavy sensations or numbness. You don't need to feel anything in particular or everything at once, just a general field of attention, body sitting. And within this sphere of awareness, with the body sitting, at times we might be drawn to the sensation of breathing that's happening. Perhaps you already have that as an anchor for your practice, mindfulness of breathing. Or in this present moment, you just might feel the sensation. Breath is arising and passing. And this can be felt or attended to wherever it feels most accessible and natural for you right now. Could be the expansion and contraction of the belly, or the rise and fall of the chest. And some might feel comfortable feeling the passage of air at the nostrils. So wherever you're feeling breath, let's just check that out for a few moments. And now for the remainder of this sitting, just choosing one of those anchors that feels most easeful and wakeful for you tonight, the whole body sitting or the breath. One isn't better than the other, just letting your attention land with one or the other, and then just rest with that, not moving back and forth between these two, either whole body or body breathing. And as it will, when the attention moves away from your anchor, your resting place, at some point, noticing happens. And then we gently, with kindness, begin again, returning to the body sitting or body breathing. And this is sati, mindfulness, remembering. For these next few minutes of silence, let's just cultivate a little bit of stability and mindfulness, remembering with this anchor. Beginning again over and over, gently, with kindness. This is what is sometimes called bare attention or mindfulness, just this direct knowing of present moment. Sati. Now we'll begin to apply this appropriate attention, yoniso manasikara. To directly see and know for yourself that whatever is being attended to is arising and passing. Sensations of the body are changing, coming and going, moving, pulsing, vibrating, tingling. The sensations of breathing are arising and passing. All the thoughts that are flowing through the experience are arising and passing. And all that is arising and passing is conditioned, affected by infinite variables, which don't need to be figured out or seen. Just see everything that's coming and going is interrelated with everything. It's not just me and mine, not separate. Because everything that's arising and passing is conditioned by our interconnectedness. It's all unreliable, can't be held on to, controlled, pushed away. It's just flowing through. And we appropriately attend. And as we continue returning to sensations of the body sitting or body breathing, everything flowing through and conditioned and unreliable. If or when we notice that we've solidified around something, gotten stuck on maybe a thought, an emotion, a sensation, then we could see, is there clinging here? Something I want to hold on to or become or get rid of? And with that appropriate attention, does it let go a little bit or a lot? And can this kind of attention feel like a form of generosity and love? Feeling our connection with each other and all beings. Feeling our wise intention to be free from suffering and clinging. A generosity of spirit and attention being cultivated right now. And in a few moments, I'll ring a bowl 3 times, tending to these characteristics of impermanent sound arising, passing, conditioned. And transitioning from that practice in a way that cultivates some continuity of appropriate awareness. So even as you begin moving or opening your eyes, and keeping that gentle and wise attention simmering. So if you're watching on the YouTube recording, I'll put the Pali words and some of the quotes below in the links under the recording. And there's also links or opportunity to support the continuation of the Dharma with voluntary support if you are able. Much appreciated, and we'll see you again. And for those that are here on the Zoom, you're welcome to stay if you like.